Hello and welcome to weekly podcast of Elite CISOs, where we bring industry leaders to talk to our community on various cybersecurity topics. So today we have Mr. Rahul Moni, CTO and CISO at Absolute Data, and Mr. Deepak as well. So guys, go ahead. Let's start with your introductions, please.
Okay, thanks Vikas for having us. As Vikas mentioned, I'm the CTO and CISO for Absolute Data. I've been with Absolute Data for about a decade now and have about 3 decades of experience, all various parts of IT, for everything from starting my career as a coder to product development to wide area networks, satellite networks, and analytics, and now the latest passion is security.
Very nice.
That's me in a nutshell over the
Great.
last 30 years.
Great. Yeah, Deepak, over to you.
Right. Yeah, thanks Vikas, thanks Rahul. So as Rahul said, I'm also working with Rahul in Absolute Data since the inception of Rahul's team in Absolute Data. And I have experience of almost 16 years now, about 9 to 10 years in security. And I hold few gold certifications of information security like CISSP, CISA, and CEH. And yes, I'm looking forward to work towards community in the field of security.
Great, great. Sounds good, Deepak. Sounds good, Rahul. So the topic for today is open source SIM, right? Now, as you guys know, SIM is required for data analysis and looking at security events and doing the correlation and all. And if you go for a commercial SIM, the more EPS goes in there, the more devices you add to a SIM, the cost goes up, right? Now, we want to explore over here, why not go for an open source SIM, right? So Rahul, my first question to you is, what is the difference between open source SIM and commercial SIM, right? Why somebody should go for open source SIM? Let's start with that.
Okay, so it depends on the size of organization. If you're looking at a very large organization, obviously you have a little more flexibility in terms of budgets. At the end of the day, all of us CISOs, CTOs have to look at the budgets. That's a given factor. What happens with a commercial SIM is the fact that a lot of the reporting is pretty sophisticated. Okay. I might sound as if I'm simplifying it tremendously out here, but at the end of the day, a lot of the information coming into the SIM is essentially logs. Whether it's the agent sitting on the endpoint who's monitoring what's happening on the machine, or your network devices, your servers, etc. A lot of the stuff you are doing is basically processing logs. Okay, that whether open source or commercial, both do an excellent job. I mean, data processing per se, analytics, etc. A lot of us use a lot of open source databases, so that portion of it is not so much of an issue. Yes, where it does come, the hardcore specific difference which is there is the kind of reporting that you get on a commercial SIM as opposed to an open source. Having said that, if you have the patience and the understanding and the ability, you can build your own reports completely. So if you're working on a tight budget and you have the inclination, it's not hard work. It's a question of putting all the experience and understanding what you need to see on screen.
Right, right.
For you to quickly analyze stuff. Once you crack that, you can get that data and you can put it in a graphical format, or you could just write a simple string which allows you to flash an alert every time something crosses a particular parameter, and you still have a pretty effective SIM mechanism which is running. That's the key differentiator. Having said that, a lot of the commercial guys are offering an open source community version, which is up to either limited by size or limited by transactions or so on and so forth. I mean, you could do QRadar, you could do Palo Alto, you could do the Cisco SIM. They're all available as community.
Alien Vault is also available, right?
Alien Vault. This and all these, and then of course the open source ones. We guys, for example, are using ELK stack, Elastic Logstash, Kibana,
Right.
with with one skin layered from a company called Vaza, and another from which we've put together ourselves in terms of using for reporting and those kind of things.
Right. Makes sense. Very interesting. So with the open source, there's always like, okay, it is not tested thoroughly. There could be a security holes and all. So if you put the open source SIM, let's say on the cloud, right? So how secure is that, putting the open source SIM either on-prem or on the cloud? What is your take on that?
Look, we had a plan which we stuck to. I'll give you a quick backgrounder. 2013, we did a complete hardware refresh across the entire organization. So that basically meant there is no old hardware there. Okay. At that point, the plan was to run it, and I had looked at running till 2020. So heavy metal servers, laptops, etc., were all planned in a phased manner to, on a cycle. All our servers, we just moved to a set of blade servers for convenience and on-prem manageability. All our servers were end of life as on 31st December 2020. We've now extended it by a year because of all this lockdown, but at that time we were aware of it. Somewhere down the line, we started interacting in 14-15 with AWS very closely, and started moving some of our workload to the cloud. That's when Deepak and I came up with this plan to by Jan 2020, or we should be practically on the cloud. Okay, and our buffer was till June 2020. At that point, of course, nobody knew this pandemic was going to happen. So luckily we had moved, and we've essentially installed, configured, run the SIM for the open source SIM for the last 18 months on the cloud with no problems. It works. We have not had issues. I think it's a little bit. So I think it's also a little bit to see the stability of the product in terms of the base stuff. Elastic Logstash Kibana is used for a number of other applications also. So that work on the database and the bits and pieces continue, right? If you get into a scenario where you have kind of a little less mature open source product, then I guess you need to be worried. But you've taken a mature version, you've installed it, configured it, understood it. Worst case scenario, what? You're going to move to another open source thing if this thing closes down totally, right? But you've developed the experience and the understanding. We've not had a problem on the cloud at all so far. It's worked brilliantly for us, and we're cross-cloud. AWS, GCP, Azure. Okay, endpoints. Vikas, I think you've gone on mute.
Yeah. So that's what was going to be my next question. I mean, when you say it is, it can support multiple clouds like AWS, Azure, GCP. So is it seamless to integrate open source SIM with these different cloud providers?
Pretty much. When we get to the demo screens, you will see that the number of plugins that it has is amazing. I mean,
right.
Whether Zscaler, any of the other guys, AWS, GCP stuff, Azure stuff, logs, you can get the whole lot.
Okay.
So there's absolutely no hassle.
Yeah. So I think ELK is very, very supported platform, right? It is mature. It is being used in different technologies as well. Are you using ELK hosted environment by ELK itself? Or are you using your own clusters, your own ELK environment? How is it?
Our own environment.
Your own environment.
We're in that fashion, me and Deepak and me a bit old school. We might as well learn it completely, run it ourselves, so that we know Also, see, one of the simple factors, because you also face it as a CISO. Explaining to management is one key factor.
Absolutely.
At the end of the day, what is this here? It's an insurance policy,
True, true,
right? And nobody hopes to use an insurance policy.
true.
We can show pretty pictures, numbers, and say we've stopped this kind of attack, we've stopped that kind of attack.
Right.
Management really has to have that confidence in the CISO that, boss, he's telling us the correct thing. He's not pulling wool over our eyes. He's not manufacturing stuff for
He
his.
knows, right, he knows what he's talking about, right? So that's
Correct,
very important.
correct.
Great.
Correct.
Right. So talking about this Elk, I mean, I love Elk, right? I've built my own clusters on Elk. We are doing a lot of logging on Elk. So I think when we started, Elk did not have their own SIM. Now Elk has come out with their own SIM itself, right? So all what you do by downloading Elk and integrating Logstash, Kibana and everything, configuring and all, Elk is providing it by itself. So have you thought about or have you considered moving to Elk based SIM, or are you happy with what you are doing right now because you have more control on the environment?
As of right now, since it's relatively new, we're happy with what we're running. But we are aware of the Elk SIM, and I think one of these days when we have a little bandwidth, we'll probably set up a parallel cluster.
Right.
And start running it to further understand it.
Okay.
We've also started developing a couple of additional resources in Kibana within the team, so we can utilize and kind of present stuff. And we are in the process of pulling in additional logs from other stuff which are not supported by Elk right now. So we're playing around with that to get a complete unified dashboard.
Makes sense. I wanted to ask a question around this as well. So your pretty much standard network devices, they can send a syslog based format to the Elk, and then you can do your own magic in Logstash and all. But what about the laptops, the desktops, the Apples of the world? Are you collecting logs from laptop desktops as well and sending it to Elk, or it is just confined to servers and network devices only? How does it look like?
So there's an agent sitting on each, a small agent sitting on each laptop.
Okay.
Each endpoint, I mean, I'll use the term, whether it's servers or this thing, small devices, the laptops, end user devices, all those. Everything is monitored. And there's a little agent sitting there. Plus, it has a little EDR built in.
Okay, in the agent
on the endpoint. So malicious activity invokes the endpoint firewall and blocks it.
Okay.
The built-in firewall and blocks it.
Perfect. So what you're saying is you are collecting logs from everything, whether it is desktop, laptop, small devices, networks and all. And that's very important, because what I see when CIOs and CISOs, they go for a SIM kind of solution or even an outsourced SOC, they focus on the critical devices. And for them, critical devices I've seen, I'm just generalizing it, is the network devices, it's the firewall, it's the server. But when the employee clicks on a phishing link, that's happening on the endpoint, right? And if you are not capturing that log, you are missing a whole lot, right? You are not getting the full picture. So I think kudos to you guys. I mean, you are capturing everything, even from the endpoint, because that's where the magic happens, right? So that's great.
So the point here, because, and this has been rammed home in the last 18 months. We've all got enough experience behind us. What was the old network diagram?
Right.
Wall and everything behind it.
True.
The whole network was behind it, and you had the wall in front.
Absolutely.
The firewall.
Absolutely.
Today, what is it? It's a bloody jalebi or whatever you.
Yeah,
it's an inverted flower.
Totally changed.
There is no wall.
Very true. Very true.
So what is critical and what is not critical? I am a developer. You give me VPN access to the server.
Right.
My endpoint is not protected.
True.
I have malware. It is using my VPN, which is authenticated.
Right.
and going into the server, what is the point of my protecting the server only?
Absolutely, absolutely. It's totally different now. So you got to collect everything, right? And then you can analyze little better. Makes sense. Now, since you mentioned about agents, right? So the agent compatibility comes in picture. Is it compatible with Windows, Linux, and Macs and all? So what your experience has been? Are these agents compatible with different flavor of operating systems, or how is it?
See, we don't have a wide variety of operating systems. We just have these three, which is the flavors of Linux. Few people who use Macs,
Mhm.
and rest is predominantly Windows
Okay.
endpoints.
Okay.
Across these three, we've not had problems. We're
Mhm.
monitoring happily. The flavors of Linux, whether it's Red Hat, SUSE, um, Ubuntu, no problem.
Right.
Mac, the user, whatever versions are there, we don't have a vast number of Macs. There must be less than 20.
Mhm.
It's more people who are keen on using Macs and they ask for Macs. That's about it.
Right.
But these three, no, we haven't problem.
Okay, cool, cool. And the other question comes to mind when we talk about, putting a SIM on the cloud and infra is on-prem, in the sense laptops are on-prem, some servers are on-prem, let's say. How does the log shipping looks like? Does it choke the bandwidth? Because right now we are not in office, we are working remotely and all. So everything goes to the cloud. Let's say we are in a normal situation, we are in office, we are 200, 300,000 people sitting within the office. So how does the log shipping looks like? Does it choke the bandwidth, or you have not seen that kind of problem? How is it?
Oh, that's a tough one right now because, but I'll just pull in Deepak here. Deepak,
Yeah.
your typical
So
log sizes, what are you talking about?
yeah, so it's hardly 5 to 10 MB during a day for a laptop.
That's
So
it. Per
it
laptop.
so in last 18 months we have never received any issue from any user that due to logs shipping it is choking their bandwidth or it is impacting their performance of the laptop. So we
Right.
found so far it is wonderful.
Oh, very nice. That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Now
So also, sorry, Vikas, one second.
Yeah.
Also, what we have planned and what we've done and tested is to route this stuff on a separate VLAN and run it out directly to the server, so we
makes sense.
get that speed. I mean, we're balancing that criticality with, but there's no point getting a delayed log either.
Absolutely, absolutely. It has to be right there, right? So
Yeah, so a little bandwidth tuning in terms of stuff which is outside the network vis-a-vis stuff which is behind the network. Behind the network, you've already got the one layer of protection, which is a decent firewall,
right.
right? So, what what our implementation is in terms of prioritizing traffic
Makes sense. Makes sense.
to run.
In terms of support, when we say open source, the community support is always there, right? So there are developers and support champions on internet, those who support the open source initiatives. So with Elk and Kaza that you use, Waza that you use, so do you see a support problem, because it is not that you pick up a phone and give a call and support is available? What kind of support challenges have you seen, or have you seen any?
Okay, so in terms of support, because within the organization we use Elk as well for some other analytics work, at least the Elastic part.
Mhm.
So we typically reach out within our company itself to developers if we have a problem.
Right.
To be honest, like I said, we've not had a major
Mhm.
issue in that sense that network is down or SIM is down and we're vulnerable.
Right.
It's more, I want to see this information, I want to see that information kind of stuff. So this particular combine is pretty stable. We played around with 2-3 in terms of ease of understanding. I will, at the point we were playing around, I be very candid, we were little bachas
Mhm.
and we were playing around. But we took the one which we could understand quickly and we could get support internally. So we really didn't look at support from Elk as an option.
Right.
Because then again, your cost starts going up,
Absolutely.
Like I said, the management convincing part was also there. So we took the simple route of saying, let's put it, get it up and running, show the screens to the management, and then get additional resources.
Show the
So,
screen.
no, we haven't had an issue in support.
Right. So support is good. Now you mentioned very interesting point. Show the screen, right? In a typical podcast, we don't really show the demo and all, but I think looking at the screen, yeah, you say, right, seeing is believing. Is there a way we can look at the screen and we can see what kind of dashboarding capabilities are there and what you are doing right now with the visualization?
Sure. Deepak,
Yes.
all yours,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah. Thanks. Let me share my screen and I'll show the.
Sure.
No.
So, because we put together, we've pre-opened a few screens and we've run it.
Oh, this,
in the interest of time, yeah.
This first look, very impressive. The first look at the screen is very impressive.
Yeah. So,
the dark
so
theme.
here you can see like, yep. Yeah. So here you can see like we have all agents, those are reporting to the dashboard or centralized servers, and we can see the live machines, and those are not disconnected. Today is holiday, so people are not connected today actually.
Right.
So that's why you can see, yeah, it's live.
Mm-hmm.
So here, this is the main screen going. And if we go, yeah.
Sorry, Deepak, just flip back to that screen for a second.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So just scroll down. So because see what happens is it covers this whole range of things.
Mm-hmm.
Regulatory detection and response, audit compliance stuff, the entire gamut. So you can configure agents for all these services and put it.
Very nice. Yeah. Very nice.
And supports MITRE and NIST as well.
Is it out of the box or do you have to configure it?
Okay, this reporting is out of the box.
Mm-hmm.
You have to do a little tweaking on the agent, but it's not very complex.
Oh, okay, cool. Very cool.
Okay. Rahul, shall I move?
Yeah, please. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So in next screen, we can see the SIM part, basically the security event dashboard, where we can see pre-configured use cases like you can see here valid accounts, process injections, brute forces, exploit, and so on, pseudo accounts and this. So this gives us basically a deep insight of our infrastructure, be it server or be it endpoint or any other device.
Very interesting. And are these clickable? You can simply click on it and this will give you information?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. So I have choose just this brute force in next screen. I'll show you here.
Mm-hmm.
So these are clicker. If I'll click, it will take some time. So I just opened it already.
Sure.
So here here's the brute force dashboard. You can see here.
Pretty cool.
And we can even dig it out deeper. I'll show you the next screen. The brute force, what is happening, from where is happening, and which machine is the target, and which is the source, right? So for example, I have taken one example here. This machine, you can see the attacking country is location is Kyrgyzstan, and then you can say the server is this prod server, and here's the IP address of the attacking server, and then we can see all details of this. And if you want to dig at more, there's a JSON format here that gives more deeps for the techie people. So for the analysts, security analysts, they can dig it more deeper and to investigate the issue and get the root cause.
Makes sense. Very good. The thought is coming to my mind that we should do a workshop for the community in terms of how to implement it or how to build it from the scratch. So I'll talk to you, Rahul, on this because it's very interesting. A lot of people.
Definitely.
Yeah. So the next screen.
The next screen, because we are very proud of, because this is something which we pulled from Kibana.
Oh wow!
This is a heat map.
Mm-hmm.
This is a heat map of the attacks which Deepak had shown on the previous screen.
Where they are coming from, right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And you will be surprised, like it will give you around 100-meter diameter exact location of the attack source.
Oh, wow. If you don't tell me that this is an open source SIM, I would believe this is a commercial product we are talking about here, right?
Yeah. So you see, if you can see, like this is the, place where we are getting most of the attacks. So we can just, just scroll it down and we can see the exact location.
Very cool.
you get down to street level, boss.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
So here we are
outstanding.
reaching.
We should do a workshop on this. I will cheers you, Rahul, for this. Okay, we will see how we can do that.
Anytime. Always a pleasure.
Yeah.
Right.
And if you see in the bottom right corner of the screen, latitude, longitude is shown.
Yeah. Oh,
Okay,
everything's-
and you could take this now. Again, here you can see the hey Deepak, don't move it. You
Okay.
can see the names of the street,
Absolutely.
and with this and Google Maps, you could probably get down.
all you need is just a drone, and you can just go over that street, right, and bomb it. Oh, very nice. Very cool.
Great.
Yeah, I mean this
So this is
gives a great visibility. So if you go to management and you can showcase that, okay, this is the kind of power of data, right? With the right configuration, you can demonstrate it. Very nice.
just
And-
one more thing, which is the kind of stuff we can connect to. And just
So
for-
here, here you can see the ready-made available plugins for the devices and the servers and softwares.
Right.
So these are available, and these can be integrated with this
Oh, that's
Same.
cool. So apart
easily,
from
plug and play.
plug and play. That's very cool. So like with Elk, you have got file beat agent and log metric
Yes,
agent
yes.
and all.
Yep.
Apart from this, all these integration is also possible. Oh, that's very
Yeah.
cool.
For example, you can include Azure, or you can integrate Checkpoint. If you have CrowdStrike, you can integrate CrowdStrike also. And there are a lot. Like if you are using Google G Suite, so you get the logs from the Google G Suite here. And if you are using GCP, like there are a number of, you see like IBM,
Wonderful. This is very
there are a number
motivating.
of plugins here.
Wonderful.
it's a damn good starting point without too much effort. Because,
true.
One doesn't have to get worried. I'm using this or that, and how will I monitor it? Because as you can see, most of the standard industry standard stuff,
It's
log
already
collection
there.
is available
It's already there.
already.
Even from a compliance sake, if you have to collect the log and manage the log, instead of going directly with the commercial option, go and try, play with it, get your hands dirty and see what you get. And once you get enough experience,
Correct.
then you can explore. I mean, enterprise class and solutions from vendors is always available. So that's cool. I think because it's a podcast and we want to keep it short, and we are going to hit that 30-minute mark. So let's stop here. I mean, I really appreciate you taking out time and talking to us and showing the great deployment that you have done. The thought of conducting a workshop is already in my mind, and I will give a call to Rahul and we will see how we can do that. But it's a great looking open source sim. You have got a great deployment. So thanks a lot for joining Elite CISO's podcast and sharing your knowledge. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks,
with
Rahul.
us.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Yeah. See you.